Imagine you are at a party, the music is playing, people are laughing, and the room is filled with the buzz of conversation. You're surrounded by friends and strangers alike, each person bringing their own energy to the gathering. Among the crowd, one person stands out, not just because of their loud voice or bold outfit, but because of the way they seem to draw everyone's attention effortlessly. They tell stories that always seem to put themselves in the best light, painting themselves as the hero or the center of every adventure. Their laughter rings out, sometimes a bit too loudly as if to make sure everyone notices how funny they are, even if the joke wasn't that great. No matter where the conversation starts, it always seems to circle back to them, their achievements, their opinions, their experiences. If anyone gently disagrees or offers a different perspective, you notice they quickly become defensive, their body language shifting, their tone sharpening. Compliments make them beam with pride, but even the mildest criticism seems to deflate them, leaving them visibly upset or withdrawn. Most of us know someone like this. Maybe it's a friend who always needs to be the center of attention, a co-worker who dominates meetings, or even a family member who can't stand being out of the spotlight. These people seem to thrive on admiration, almost as if it's the air they breathe. They light up when others notice them and seem to wither when ignored. At first, their confidence and charisma can be magnetic, drawing people in and making them the life of the party. But over time, you might notice the energy in the room shift. People grow tired, conversations become one-sided, and it starts to feel exhausting, always about them, never about anyone else. You might wonder, why are some people like this? Is it just arrogance, or is there something deeper at play beneath the surface? These are the very questions psychologists have been exploring for decades, trying to understand what drives this kind of behavior. The answers, it turns out, are far more complex than they first appear, involving a mix of personality, upbringing, and even cultural influences. Understanding narcissism begins with recognizing it in these everyday moments, at parties, in meetings, or around the dinner table. It helps us see narcissism not as something rare or distant, but as a part of the human experience, sometimes healthy, sometimes harmful, and always worth understanding. The word narcissism, which we often hear today, actually has its roots in an ancient Greek myth that has been passed down through generations. Narcissus was a young man renowned throughout the land for his breathtaking beauty, a beauty so profound that it captivated everyone who laid eyes on him. Everyone who saw him fell hopelessly in love, drawn to him like moths to a flame, but Narcissus cared for no one but himself, remaining indifferent to their admiration. One fateful day, he stumbled upon a still pond, its surface like a mirror, and there he saw his own reflection for the first time. He became so enchanted by his own image, so mesmerized by his reflection, that he could not look away, as if spellbound by his own beauty. He stayed there day after day, night after night, gazing at himself until he wasted away, consumed by his own self-obsession. According to the myth, in the end, he transformed into the delicate flower we now call the Narcissus, a symbol of his tragic fate. This story serves as a timeless warning about the dangers of self-obsession and the perils of being consumed by one's own image. The myth of Narcissus is not just about vanity or superficial beauty. It's about being so wrapped up in oneself, so absorbed in one's own world, that true connection with others becomes impossible. The world goes unnoticed, the feelings of others are ignored, and only the self matters, leading to isolation and loneliness. Today, we use the term narcissism to describe this attitude, this self-centered way of living. But, as we will see, it is more than just loving the way we look. It is about how we perceive ourselves in relation to the world. It touches on how we see ourselves, how we interact with others, and ultimately, how we choose to live our lives. In psychology, narcissism has a specific meaning. It describes a pattern of thinking, feeling, and behaving that centers on one's own importance. Key traits include a strong sense of self-importance, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. But narcissism is not all or nothing. It exists on a spectrum. At one end, there is healthy self-confidence and pride, a belief in oneself that helps us succeed and handle life's challenges. At the other end, it becomes extreme, damaging, and even cruel. Most people have some narcissistic traits. This is normal. Problems arise when these traits become so strong that they harm relationships, work, or daily life. The spectrum view helps us understand that narcissism, like many traits, is not simply bad or good. Understanding this range is important. It helps us see when narcissism builds us up and when it tears others down. Psychologists now realize there are two main types of narcissism: grandiose and vulnerable. Grandiose narcissists are bold, outgoing, and often charming. They brag about their achievements, take charge of conversations, and may seem unshakably confident. Think of the person who always one-ups your stories, or never admits to being wrong. Vulnerable narcissists, on the other hand, are more sensitive and defensive. They may appear shy or insecure, but they still crave admiration and recognition. When criticized, they feel deeply wounded. They might sulk or withdraw, convinced that others don't appreciate them. Both types share a focus on themselves and a need for validation, but their behaviors look different. Grandiose narcissists seek attention openly. Vulnerable narcissists may play the victim, fishing for reassurance and sympathy. Recognizing these types helps us understand why narcissism can look so different from one person to another. Why do some people develop strong narcissistic traits? Well, the answer is, honestly, pretty complex. Genetics definitely play a role here. Some folks are just naturally more self-focused or, more sensitive to reward and praise. But environment matters, too. Parenting styles can really shape narcissism. For example, children who are overpraised or told they are special above all others might develop a sense of entitlement. On the other hand, children who are ignored, criticized harshly, or not given enough warmth may also become narcissistic, kind of as a defense against feeling unworthy. Culture also has an influence. In societies that value competition, individual success, and self-promotion, narcissistic traits can be encouraged. Personal achievement becomes the highest goal, sometimes at the expense of empathy and collaboration. So, it's a mix of nature and nurture, with no single cause. This makes narcissism both common and, honestly, pretty hard to predict. Social media has really changed the way we present ourselves to the world. In today's digital age, almost everyone has a smartphone in their pocket, making it easier than ever to capture and share moments instantly. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, they encourage us to share our best moments, collect likes, and build a public image. These platforms are designed to reward us for sharing, making us feel seen and validated by others. This can make even ordinary people focus more on how they are seen rather than who they truly are. The pressure to look perfect or to seem interesting can sometimes overshadow our authentic selves. Studies have actually found a link between heavy social media use and narcissistic traits. The more time we spend curating our online presence, the more likely we are to become preoccupied with our own image. The constant search for attention and approval can feed the need for admiration. Notifications, likes, and comments can become addictive, making us crave more validation. Online, it's so easy to edit out flaws, hide vulnerability, and present a perfect but often false self. We can filter our lives, showing only the highlights and hiding the struggles, which can distort reality for both ourselves and our followers. But social media isn't all bad. It can be a place for genuine connection, laughter, and support, helping us stay in touch with friends and family across distances. It can also connect us, inspire us, and give us a voice. People use these platforms to share ideas, raise awareness, and find communities that understand them. The key is balance. Using these platforms without letting them shape our self-worth. Taking breaks, reflecting on our usage, and focusing on real-life relationships can help us stay grounded. The digital world may be making narcissism more visible, but it's not the only cause. Our desire for attention and approval has always existed. Technology just amplifies it. It just adds fuel to an age-old fire, reminding us that while technology evolves, human nature often stays the same. Narcissism can deeply affect relationships. People with strong narcissistic traits often struggle to truly connect with others. Empathy, the ability to understand and care about another person's feelings, is often lacking. This empathy gap means that narcissists may ignore, dismiss, or even hurt those close to them. They may demand attention and praise, but give little in return. Criticism, even when it's gentle or helpful, is rarely welcomed. Instead, it may be met with anger, blame, or just silent treatment. Validation is another key issue. Partners or friends of narcissists may feel invisible, unimportant, or used. Over time, This can lead to frustration, resentment, and emotional distance. Healthy relationships need give and take, trust, and real understanding. When narcissism is strong, these foundations can really crack. Not all narcissism is a problem, but when it's extreme, inflexible, and causes serious harm, it may be diagnosed as Narcissistic Personality Disorder, or NPD. People with NPD show a lasting pattern of grandiosity, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy. Their behavior disrupts work, friendships, and family life. Change is difficult for people with NPD. They often don't see a problem with their behavior. Criticism feels like an attack, and they may blame others for their struggles. Therapy can help, but progress is often slow and challenging. NPD is rare, much less common than everyday narcissism, but its impact is serious. It can cause pain not only for the person with the disorder, but for everyone around them. Understanding the difference between everyday narcissism and NPD helps us know when professional help is needed. Can narcissistic people change? The answer is, well, complicated. For those with mild traits, self-awareness and feedback can help. Therapy can teach empathy and healthier ways to relate to others, but for those with more severe narcissism, change is harder. It requires facing uncomfortable truths and learning new patterns. Still, there is hope. Growth is possible when people are willing to look beyond themselves. Practicing empathy, gratitude, and humility can help. Building self-worth on inner values, not just outer praise, is key. As a society, we can also encourage healthier ideas about success and self-worth. Instead of ranking ourselves against others, we can focus on connection, compassion, and community. The big question remains, how can we value ourselves without needing to feel better than everyone else? Perhaps that is the greatest lesson the myth of Narcissus has to offer us today.